Welcome back, folks. Still here with European relegations into the SPL. My name is Tom, and his name is Ryan. We're going to get things underway. So right now, we're a little bit over halfway through all of these matches. And basically what's happening here is teams are battling it out against each other one-on-one to figure out who lands on top. All these wins wind up costing each other points, and everybody's going to land on the leaderboard. Why don't we take a look at that right quick, and Aggro can break it down.
Yeah, you got it. Right up top, you have Cyclone GG. They played 3 matches. They've got 3 wins. They're in a great spot. You just heard Hindu and Tully talking about it. They aren't mathematically guaranteed. One more win would guarantee them a spot in this year's spring split of the SPL. Elevate and Novus Orsa, they're the other 2 that are in that top 3 that you need to be in. This game we're about to watch, New Game Plus versus Deserted, or excuse me, Last Minute Monsters versus Deserted. These are the 2 winless teams.
Yeah.
So one of these teams is going to be mathematically eliminated. The other one could have some hope, but it's a long shot. They're going to need help even if they win this game.
Well, here's what it comes down to. Right now, both these teams have 0 wins, and somebody's going to come up with a win.
Sure are. Good for them.
Let's go to Picks and Pans.
Yep.
So, on the left side of your screen, Deserted. That's the big Stevie Beefy's team. He's going to be number 1 as far as picks and bans are concerned. Last Minute Monsters, on the other hand, that's the HalfDevil squad. And really, Last Minute Monsters has to be thinking, like we said, one of these teams is going to be eliminated. Last Minute Monsters and Deserted, they've got their backs against the wall here. What do you bring out? It's a single game. What are you grabbing?
I mean, if any team has been holding any sort of strategies, there's no other time to do it. You got to bring it out right now. I mean, we've seen teams like Novus Orsa bring out some very odd picks. Maybe Last Minute Monsters or Deserted are saying Freya mid could work for us. You know, you never know. I expect that Ratatoskr is going to be picked pretty early on here, and it is first pick.
Look at you. A regular old Miss Cleo right here. Ratatoskr with the first pick. So Last Minute Monsters, understanding that Ratatoskr is here to really set the pace of the game.
Yes.
Last Minute has to respond in kind. Either you're going to look for a Thor, a Thanatos, a Susano, also a good pick. Highly mobile, very quick. You don't seem sold.
It's just interesting that you see the Assassin locked in right after Deserted is already locked in an Assassin for them, though Ratatoskr does have that flex pick capability, so you could have seen Deserted pick up Susano and put Ratatoskr in the solo lane, but seemed unlikely to me. Sylvanus was still on the board. Khepri has been really highly prioritized as well. They do take Apollo, so that's one of the priority picks that we've seen so far in this relegation period, but I just don't think the Last Minute Monsters needed to select Susano right here.
We'll take a look. Sometimes you're just trying to make a statement, you know?
Sure.
Neither of these teams have a win, and so sometimes the outside of the line stuff comes into context. Sobek will be selected next to Izanami, who might find her way into the mid lane.
Yeah, could be mid lane, could be Hunter, though we haven't seen any Izanami in the mid lane so far here in Relegations. I think
just yet.
Only be in the Hunter role so far, but again, definitely very possible to see her in that middle lane. Thoth is off the board, so that's your priority mid laner for Last Minute Monsters. All the other ones, we've seen a lot of Poseidon, a lot of Ra, a lot of Giannis.
We've seen a lot of Poseidon. Is it more than just the wave clear?
I mean, it's the fact that Gem of Isolation has that CCR on it now as well. You lose the mana, but you have that crowd control reduction.
Sure.
And it's just a little bit cheaper than it was. It took a couple buffs back to back, and that kind of brought Poseidon back into the meta. Plus, Poseidon's never been bad. It's just teams forget about him. It's the Poseidon treatment. It's literally named after him.
What happens with Poseidon? He sort of like comes in with the ebb and flow of the meta.
Yep.
If people remember to buy Sanctuary, or Aegis as we call it now, well, he's bad. But if they forget, then he's good. That's pretty much where Poseidon lands.
That's the long and the short of it right there.
Sylvanus certainly has a long reach. He's going to be selected for Last Minute Monsters.
Yeah, that's the dual lane push that we've seen been so successful for basically every team that's been able to get this highly coveted dual lane of combination of Sylvanus and Apollo. Just so much early pressure as well as that late game prowess from Apollo that you're not giving up that late game sort of potential. You're getting the early game, you're getting the late game. Sylvanus excellent in the mid game whenever he's maxed out those wisps. The sustain is unbelievable. You just get everything you want in these 2 dual lane picks.
Zeus and Giannis banned away, 2 very strong mid lane picks. So Last Minute Monsters not sold that Izanami will be going to the mid, so that'll likely wind up in the duo lane. And Odin will be banned. Odin has actually been really successful here in our European relegation series. Odin obviously has a strong early game, but and he's also good at shutting down these healers. It's interesting. I feel like Sustain has taken a back seat but a lot of the healers have good clear.
A lot of the healers do have good clear, and that's a great point. And with how prevalent Hercules has been, and even gods like Apollo that cannot get out of that Odin cage without their ultimate, he's always going to be effective in those sorts of terms. And if you don't have anything else you need to ban, it's excellent up against Sylvanus. No problem with it whatsoever.
There's the raw ban to finish out the mid lane bans. Last minute monsters have one choice. Their hunter, their jungler, and their support selected. Where do they go from here?
Could be into the mid lane. I mean, you see that that both teams still need that mid lane mage, so getting that priority could be the right call here. Poseidon, like we mentioned, very, very strong right now. Decent up against the Sobek. Chang'e going to be locked in actually for last minute monsters. Now this could be in the middle lane or the solo lane. This is really a flex pick, I think, but if I had to make a guess, I'd probably put it in the middle lane. And Chang'e middle is something that I've been against for quite some time, but if there's a time for it, it's now, because with how strong Shield of Regrowth is, just so cheap, you get 300 HP, 20% CDR, you get a good amount of mana, MP5 and HP5 as well, plus the passive, you're zooming around with Chang'e, incredibly, you can't catch her. Her kiting is unmatched.
Vulcan will be the opposition for the Chang'e in the mid lane if that is where she goes. And, you know, like you said, you've been against Chang'e in the mid lane for a long time. This is actually one of the strategies that I would say really originated in the world of the console scene.
Sure.
And as the Chaac is locked in, I don't think we're going to see the Chaac mid anytime soon, unfortunately.
Buddy.
So the Chang'e is what's going mid. And she's interesting because she clears a little bit differently. Why is Chang'e, now you mentioned Shield of Regrowth, outside of that, it's a high clear situation. Chang'e's not who I think of when I think of high clear. No. Why does Chang'e work?
Well, the fact that Sands of Time is a new starter item for mages that synergizes very, very well with her kit, giving her that inherent CDR that she really, really needs, as well as you can pair that with Soulstone, buying that from base. So you can start off with Soulstone or Sands of Time and then buy the second one for the double starter item sort of start for Chang'e that I think is most effective in the middle lane. These two items now, the new Soulstone passive really, really synergizes well with Chang'e's kit. She can use a lot of her abilities for that enhanced magical power very, very quickly together. And if you aren't going to have that high clear, BroTuZ on this Vulcan that he's played before, Vulcan is not a high clear god either in the middle lane, so you're not super worried about getting out pushed. Like I said, usually not a fan. In this scenario, I'm fine with it.
All right. So the aggro seal of approval is here for FaraKrik.
That means a lot, in case, you know, my seal of approval is highly coveted.
I mean, your god pool is like Poseidon and Thoth.
Giannis, are you kidding me? That was my only god. My only god.
Well, in any event.
And the Z-Man.
The aggro seal of approval on FaraKrik's Chang'e here. Big poke coming out for the guys on Last Minute Monsters already. That's that wave clear you were talking about, nice and early. So that's the situation over there in the dual lane. And then rebound, stuck on the Chaac. He'll be under tower for the moment.
A lot of clear on that right-hand side with that Chaac as well. We didn't really touch on that pick at all, but that's exactly why you're seeing rebound pick it up, is just for early clear in that lane. They're really relying on this Chang'e and Apollo in the late game. Two really, really strong late game gods.
A little bit of a tussle. FaraKrik, he's gone. Nice and quick as Hoek gets the first kill. First blood for Deserted. So you still agree with the Chang'e?
I mean, any mid laner would have died in that scenario outside of probably Giannis, potentially Agni as well. I mean, it's very, very difficult to do that. Baas, very good pathing there, using the juke shoes with that stealth. If he would have been revealed, he may have taken an early death in that lane, which is exactly what you don't want to do up against Apollo.
So here, very early on, Last Minute Monsters has no control of their own jungle. The blue buff is as good as gone to Deserted. A little bit of a fight over the speed buff at least, but the blue buff is certainly gone. If there is a silver lining if you're rooting for Last Minute Monsters, Chaac is definitely one of the characters that can do without the blue buff.
Without a doubt, that passive, as soon as he gets 5 auto attacks, his next ability costs 0 mana. So and his mana costs really aren't that high to begin with anyways. So you, like you mentioned, you really don't need it. He does, however, need that ever important golden experience that blue buff provides early on.
That's the big deal. Here he's able to really pound into the Amaterasu with those basics. Once you drop that rain, you really can deal a lot of damage. Here's the thing though, Amaterasu has the heals available, but at what point is it just too much damage this early on?
And that's exactly what you're seeing rebound utilize here. FaraKrik, he's in trouble, plucked back directly into the meatball, tons of damage. He comes south actually around the side of the turret, but it's not gonna matter. Gorgonzolla trades his life for it though. Hoek, he may fall as well.
2 minutes, 2 kills on the Chang'e, and there's the kill on Hoek. Joshy gets credit for that one, and Baas, he's in trouble here. He gets rooted, and he's gonna turn around while invisible. Not quite. There's the turnaround for Joshy. And Captain Baas, Captain no longer. 3 kills to 2. Nice and early aggro. I'm glad we got a slobber knocker.
Yeah, Joshy has really looked strong on this Apollo in the early stages of the game, though he needs to do a better job than he did in the last one of transitioning that lead and making it happen in the later stages. But this is a great start for him. He went for the Shuriken start, a little bit of extra power, not as much movement speed as Baas has, but he does have that extra 15 power. Hoek, he might be in trouble here, Tom. Uses the pluck, gets pulled back in right away, but Joshy more worried about clearing the wave than killing the enemy support.
Yeah, Sobek's still here, just trying to battle it out, and that, I think, was a step too far. But the Hunter shows up, and you can't body block those shots. Baas takes down Joshy.
It just not the right call. And like you called it right there. I mean, you can't body block those shots from Izanami, and HalfDevil was in the perfect position if that were any other Hunter in the roster, but it's not.
And you see that all the time, and in fact, I bet our fans at home that are watching do that in their games as well, because you're just so used to body blocking these basic attacks coming out from Hunters. That's how you beat a Hunter. You get in the way.
When I'm playing support, I've seen myself body block Desert Furies, but on the right-hand side, rebound, he's gonna get sunned out. Dazzling offense, Gorgonzolla going up into the sky, just trying to secure this kill, and they will. BigSB secures the last hit, giving him an even bigger lead in this solo lane, up about 200 gold right now.
Straight up question. The ultimate out of the Ratatoskr. Now that's, is that a wasted ultimate or a useful ultimate because they confirm the kill?
There's no difference on if he uses it to initiate, to get that gank going, or if he uses it to clean up the kill, and that's like he did in that scenario. Maybe a 6-7 second difference in terms of cooldown. Hestrix, he's gonna eat that Earthbreaker, uses the knockup beautifully, but cannot get out, even with that extreme mobility for Susano. BroTuZ able to pick up that kill. Not at the right spot there for Hestrix.
You know, Taka warned me about BroTuZ as Baas takes a number of shots. One good situation, and Joshy will get the kill, but Baas is able to turn it around right quick. But so Taka warned me about BroTuZ. He's not the same player that we knew on Titan. No. A lot of trouble on the right side of the jungle, and the rebound is going to get in trouble from the Sobek. One more shot. Gorgonzolla takes down the Chaac.
FaraKrik gets plucked back in, but he uses that mobility by using his abilities to get into the tower. HalfDevil and Chang'e here, they have enough sustain between them. They could try and fight this, but Hestrix, he's only level 6. Going to be tough for him to fight into this level 7 Amaterasu.
Yeah, I mean, this jungle just does not belong to last-minute monsters, unfortunately. Deserted has been here the entire time, and actually this is the first time I've seen Hestrix actually be able to take a stand against his opposition. But BroTuZ already 2-0-1 so far aggro on this mid lane Vulcan, and last time we saw him on the big stage, he was playing solo lane, and frankly, he wasn't the top of his class, let's say. Here, he looks completely different, playing his natural position of mid lane.
And it's fitting that he's doing so on this Vulcan that wears the jersey of his former team in Titan. Rebound, trying to chase down the TheBigSB. He's got no mana left with that movement speed aura. He's in the right stance. Oh, the knockup prevents the axe throw, and the TheBigSB is going to survive. In fact, Rebound is the one who falls. Perfect timing there from Gorgonzolla.
With the laugh spam all the way from Italy, I heard him just screaming at his computer right there. Gorgonzolla has to be feeling himself after that kill. Rebound, on the other hand, well, not so much.
Pulled out of that fadeaway, but there's not quite enough damage. No full committal there from Hestrix. Did have the Typhoon, but that's a dive scenario where Joshy would have to go up into the across the sky and try and dive that tower. A little bit too risky at this stage in the game, but what started off great for last-minute monsters, and again, just Joshy gets a lead early on, and then the rest of the team cannot seem to hold it. Deserted. They're up 7-3 right now in kills.
So right now, Hoek. So it's not Hoek for what it's worth.
Oh, it isn't?
No, it's one of these. It's one of these. I am incapable of pronouncing it correctly, so we're gonna say Hoek to Americanize it. But it's something like, and all the Europeans get ready to laugh at me. Hoek.
Wait, I missed that. My mic was my headphones were a little messed up. Can you repeat that for me?
Something like, Hoek.
So
we're just
Hoek
gonna say
here,
Hoek.
he's looking for the kills on the right-hand side. Rebound, they were thinking about diving him over here, but not quite enough damage. BigSB did have his ultimate, but the Storm Call was ready for Rebound as well. Not too worried about that. Everyone's just having an old chuckle in this game, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, last-minute monsters and Deserted, like, nobody's won. Okay,
Yes.
these are the bottom of the relegation. Somebody needs to win. Somebody is going to win, obviously. And so Deserted and Last Minute Monsters, these guys are just looking to really just start a fight.
Nice ultimate there from BroTuZ. FaraKrik, he's very, very low. Gorgonzolla up in the sky. Shell is well timed from HalfDevil, but it's not going to matter. Gorgonzolla able to pick him up. Hestrix trying to return fire, but Gorgonzola's out!
The sticky cheese! He makes it out! Well, the big SB makes it known that he's not going to take the HalfDevil's nonsense, putting the support down in the ground while Baas is taunting himself at this point. I mean, nobody's around, and he's just last spamming.
He's chilling, but Joshy up at the sky trying to find Gorgonzolla, I do believe, but he's already backed, my friend.
He's gone.
Way back in base. BroTuZ, he's saying, yeah, come, I'm nice and free underneath my tier 1 tower. Come ult me.
And then you know exactly what the Vulcan does. He drops it. These guys are bad happy right now.
I mean, they're just, they're all having a grand old time. There you see the crit coming out from Joshy and just how much damage that does. The slow guarantees the second auto, which guarantees that it's so beautiful. So strong with that item.
So we see two approaches now. Pretty much all day we've seen this double star build outside of the Ulers, which are still going to be bringing those transcendences along with the needs. But the basic attack characters, this Cold Fury, is taken pretty much unannounced by Last Minute Monsters.
It's not done yet. Gorgonzolla almost got there in time, but Waxing Moon there to secure it. Hoek, he's here. They're trying to catch out HalfDevil. There's a stun. There's the pluck, but Gorgonzolla, he's pulled back in, taking a ton of damage. Joshy dashing forward. He's going to be able to pick up his 4th kill of the game. All 4 kills so far for Last Minute Monsters on the Hunter.
Not this time. Gorgonzolla's going to fall down. The big SB picks up HalfDevil as well. And Stevie Beefy, 3-0-3 already in this contest. We got 10 kills before 10 minutes on the clock. Deserted looking very strong right now. Where has this play been all tournament?
I mean, like you mentioned, these are the bottom 2 teams here, so you expect one team, you know, maybe a team's looking this good because they don't.
Though? Or is it just the fact that you got to dial it up to 11 when your back's against the wall?
I mean, like you mentioned, both of these teams do need a victory here if they want to keep any sort of hope alive. And I don't know. I mean, the big SB, I don't think he's played Amaterasu yet today. He's looked very, very strong on this character, getting the laning advantage up against a Chaac, which really shouldn't be happening on paper. Thanks to the help from Gorgonzolla, of course. Gorgonzolla, he's had good early games, but it's been his mid games that have trouble.
Big SB tried to get fancy and proxy farm the wave, but unfortunately, he's all by himself. Help from the jungler, he's not alone anymore. Gorgonzolla drops it down on Hestrix. Big SB turning it around, and they're gonna laugh to the bank. Ha ha ha! Number 11 for Deserted.
FaraKrik is here. He wants to pick up the big SB, but he may have just put himself in a bad position. Gorgonzolla is doing a ton of damage right now. He's already got that Brawler's Beatstick. Reduced healing there. Great Waxing Moon from FaraKrik to open up the escape door for rebound.
I don't think they're done. Stevie Beefy will continue this fight till the cows come home. HalfDevil gets tossed. He's going to get slapped in the face by a Vulcan ultimate. Making the rotation is BroTuZ. Knock up is good. Backfire won't be. Stevie Beefy chasing the support underneath the tower, but he's taking it for too long. Meanwhile, Baas stripped again of his captainhood, and BroTuZ gets the kill on a HalfDevil. It's 12-5.
FaraKrik just not quite enough damage to finish any of these low health characters. Rebound. He's got his choice of the litter. Hestrix able to pick up Gorgonzolla. BroTuZ on the run. No sort of storm call for rebound, but that big squeak gonna be able to pick it up. Rebound picks up the 3rd kill there for Last Minute Monsters, and Deserted to stay far too long on the right-hand side.
That's really what it comes down to, is the concept of overstaying your welcome. Not your welcome as in thank you, but you've just been here for too long. And now the other team gets to turn it around. 1,000 gold in the pocket, that's 500 per tower. And plus the Portal Demon is going to be attacked here. And this is much more about the experience of the gold than the actual application of the portal.
Though it does let you get back to the mid lane a little bit faster, so you can see FaraKrik take it, refill his mana pool, get that gold, and spend it on the items, doesn't have to wait on the bunny, and then immediately get back to farming those right-hand mid camps. You could see Last Minute Monsters, if they wanted to, could test a speed buff if they were a little bit quicker. They aren't going to be able to get there in time, but yes, in the early game, the Portal Demon mostly used for that golden experience buff, but there's also some real practical applications. You can see FaraKrik had the option to come around the back and try and make a gank happen.
The option not taken so far. Deserted trailing at the moment by about 1,000 gold, just barely underneath it. I'd say this one is closer to tied than not, but Last Minute Monsters has been able to get a foot ahead because of the capitalization off of the mistakes from Deserted, like this.
Here's a mistake from Big Steefy Beefy. He was pushed up way too far, but the dash is just in time. Mistimed abilities there from Last Minute Monsters. That really should have been a kill.
Just in time? He dashed 12 hours before that Chaac decided to ult. That was a little bit problematic for rebound.
Problematic for Joshy on this left-hand side. Dark Portal. If he had waited one more moment to pop that across the sky, it could have been very problematic. Instead, decides to land back down. No lifesteal for him.
That's just in time.
Yeah, now Hoek, he's on the run. Teleport back in from Hestrix, but he has no ultimate. He used it on that right-hand side. FaraKrik has his, though. Waxing Moon able to pick up the support.
Beautiful play out of the Chang'e, and the long-range shot from BroTuZ claims the life. HalfDevil gets Gorgonzolla for his money's worth. It's a 1 for 2 at the moment, but it doesn't look like they're done. Stevie Beefy answers back, 2 for 2. And that's going to be that. Rebound is going to follow underneath the tower and scratch that. There's the elbow drop. One more shot will do it, and he finds it. Hestrix takes down Baas.
BroTuZ needs to be careful here. The tanky targets are still so healthy for last-minute monsters. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to dive him once
that's big
more.
Damage.
Rebound. He's got to be wary of the damage for BroTuZ, though.
Rebound took way more damage than I anticipated. You got to look at the build, though. It's all physical protection. BroTuZ shows up and tosses the meatball, and he loses half of his life bar.
Plus, the Doom Orb coming out of BroTuZ, just that's raw damage in the middle lane. There's nothing you can build early on that is as cheap and is as damaging as Doom Orb. Now, of course, there's the downside where if you die, you lose the stacks, and then it's getting inefficient. But if BroTuZ can position as well as he has thus far, that's not going to be an issue.
Do more with Doom Orb. I always say that. And when it comes down to it, I was talking about this earlier. Some characters have multiple roles, right? If I'm Ra, I'm going to be healing in addition to dealing damage. If I'm Giannis, I'm going to be getting my friends to walk through walls in addition to dealing... Vulcan only does damage, so maximize that.
He does it well. There's the ultimate out of Hestrix. Looks like he actually shot that a little bit early because Gorgonzolla did not get knocked up.
He's looking for the pull. He's not going to find it. Really thought he was going to find it. With that said, his teammates weren't there. Teammates still not there. Forced into the defensive ultimate.
We've seen that all day from HalfDevil, just being on a completely different page than the rest of his team. And it's tough to say whether that's a product of his team not trusting his calls or him just being a rogue, basically, and doing whatever he wants. But the roster switches definitely seem to have taken them off the same page.
Gorgonzolla targeting the solo lane. And Rebound just gets chunked by BroTuZ.
Yeah, just doing so much damage right now. Hoek forced the dash away after the root from HalfDevil, but you called it, Tom. Just no magical protection quite yet for Rebound. Does have teleport available, so he can come back in time to contest his Gold Fury, but it's dropping very, very quickly.
Yeah, right now could be anybody's business. Going to be leashed out by Deserted. There's a shell. There's a shot out of BroTuZ. Big damage, but not enough. That'll seal the deal. 1 for the Vulcan. Still continuing on, answering back by Hestrix. Hoek going to die right here. It's a 1 for 1. 15 to 11 in total. The big SB chases down. Trouble for Joshy, but the blink from Hestrix saves his life. And we're just going to see one die on either side, 1 support and 1 shock.
Looks like the Chang'e blink is also on cooldown now. Picked up that second relic to cover some extra ground. Gold Fury being started up right now. HalfDevil trying to get in there, but no ultimate available, not in time.
Oh.
The pull actually interrupts the dash from Hestrix. Big SB, he's got to run, but I don't think he's got anywhere to go unless the Typhoon misses.
He's going to go up north. He's faster than Hestrix, but Hestrix has a bag full of tricks.
All right. Thank goodness.
You all right there?
Yeah, we're good. Everything's fine. Yep.
You right there, chap?
Yep, I'm good.
You look a little. You look a little. You're. What do they say? Side tilted.
No, we're good.
Here's a question.
Uh-huh.
What are the applications of Blink on the Chang'e?
Your damage is short range. You're not a traditional mage like a Vulcan or a Ra that can do damage from a distance. Chang'e very melee centric, so it gets you in the thick of the battle so you can actually do the damage. The dream is that you use the Chang'e blink to get a big waxing moon. Gorgonzolla here sniffs out this portal demon attempt, actually gets his dash blocked there by Chang'e along with Hoek, using that lurking in the waters to zone away, but Hoek, I don't know about that choice.
That was not a smart choice. The support just gives himself up for what was a pretty much non-objective. HalfDevil here gonna walk into BroTuZ damage, And Baas puts a dot on that one right after BroTuZ goes ahead and slams down the ultimate.
BroTuZ has looked absolutely great.
He's killing it.
Vulcan, especially in this game. The portal does go the way of Deserted, so they get that extra little bit of golden experience as well as the option to teleport back in and group. If I were Deserted right now, this is the perfect time to group up and push this right-hand tower. You have the portal right there. If you start to lose the poke battle, you back, you teleport, you come right back, but this portal does not last long, and if they don't do it right now, then it's probably not the right call. They agree that it's better to just back up and farm out the map.
So right now, as we're approaching 20 minutes on the clock, there finally is a real lead here. We've been neck and neck for the majority of the battle, but Deserted has started to separate from the pack. Last minute monsters trailing by about 2,000 gold.
Can we take a look at the player damage right now? I assume that BroTuZ is very, very close to the top in that player damage, and he is right underneath of Gorgonzolla, who's also been making stuff happen all across the map. You can see the big, for me, Tom, the big difference in this game has been the damage out of the mid laners. I mean, Chang'e is not your damage mid, but BroTuZ is, and he's killing it.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely controlling this game. If you're going to play the Chang'e in the mid, which I actually really like Chang'e, but it's all about the balancing of the equation. Chang'e, by adding Chang'e, you're gaining sustain and some help, but you're losing the pure damage, so you have to find more damage, and that's where I think the Chaac selection is, but it's just not working out.
Oh, there goes Joshy, just exploded. The two-man knockup from HalfDevil does good CC and damage, but it's not enough as last-minute monsters forced to retreat. Rebound, he's still on the right-hand side. The chase is on here on the left.
And they're going. Not going to be able to catch up. Hoek waiting for the pluck. Nice little dance coming out from FaraKrik, and the decision to peel back from Deserted. They're instead going to look for the jungle strip instead of the tower strip, and I like this move.
Yeah, they just don't have quite enough damage right now. Baas, no penetration online quite yet. Difficult for him to solo down this tower.
Looks like they still want to fight on the left side. Stevie Beefy versus Chaac of nothing. But on the left side, the right side, everybody just taking care of these quasi-fights.
Just little skirmishes all across the map. We've seen a lot of that
That's
today.
a good word.
Yeah, just trying to get any sort of advantage you can, because there's so much farm on the map in Season 4. There's so many buffs, the back camps, the portal demon, the elementals. If you can get any sort of health advantage, it opens up the map for you to invade.
So to that, we've seen a lot. We've seen a couple of mid laners, not in this game, but we've seen a couple of mid laners actually opt for the Bumba's Mask under the assertion that the jungler is too busy to actually clear all those camps. Now, not in this game, and the jury still seems to be out, and I actually like that. Now, you're a mid laner by trade. What's your take on the Bumba's Mask on mid lane?
I understand the thought process, but I think that mid lane is so gold-starved as it is. It always has been. You've got so many people in your lane splitting your waves with you, and all of your items are very, very expensive for the most part. Sure, you got your Doom Orbs and your Obsidian Shards that really aren't, but overall, the majority of your damage items are pretty expensive. And investing even that 500 gold to Bumba's just feels like I'm delaying a little bit too much from my build. I'm not a huge fan. I'd rather wait for the support to come and hold my hand and help me clear the buff than invest that 500 gold by myself.
You're really only investing 100 and something gold, though, because that 500 gets traded out for 300.
Sure, and maybe you could go with the Shadow Nightmare kind of esque approach of buying it early on and then selling it to complete your second item. Maybe that wouldn't be bad, but you have to do the math as far as, am I gaining that 130 gold off of the Bumba's passive? And you have to clear a lot of camps to get 130 gold out of Bumba's.
And that's what's really fun about this Season 4 at the moment, is that there's so many options out there, and not options that are just different for the sake of being different, but things that are legitimate strategies. That was a legitimate grab right through the wall. Still not enough to take care of Hoek. BroTuZ over the top. Gorgonzolla from behind. Hestrix takes a spill, and this one looks like it's going to be two. HalfDevil, a full kill for Baas.
The rotation was perfectly timed from all of Deserted there. It looked like Hoek was all by himself, but the entire team was there with him. Gorgonzolla, he's going to clean up Joshy for the third kill of that engagement in favor of last-minute monsters, and Deserted is just running away with this game, up 6,000 gold, right around 5,000 gold, rather.
Glad you corrected yourself.
Thanks, dude.
No problem. So one of the things I've also noticed is that, speaking about the builds in Season 4, is it's Ratatoskr. He hasn't bought boots.
Are you really going to troll me like that right now? Ratatoskr cannot buy boots. He's got an acorn. It's better than boots. End of story. Tier 2 tower gonna fall on this left-hand side. Now we're at the stage where Baas on the Izanami can really push towers effectively. He's got the Fatalis, and yes, now that helps you with your tower push because of that 10 penetration as well as the additional attack speed. Izanami's attack speed steroid is one of the best in the game.
Look at that.
Just excellent split push capability from Izanami and apparently Sobek.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. The split push Sobek. In all honesty, you know, this Sobek is a terrible choice to split push. But when it comes down to it, the tower is barely alive. Deserted actually make the smart decision in sending Hoek over there because he's just enough to take care of the wave and the tower. And more importantly, he wasn't needed in the team fight on the left side to claim the towers over there. So Deserted are actually fantastic sequence. And it all started from that team fight. That was almost accidental.
Yeah, Hoek seemed like he had been caught out, like I mentioned, but they just invested so much into him, did last-minute monsters, the Wrath of Terra. You've got just so many cooldowns being used, and they all group up right on top of him. Hoek's able to create some space after the Wrath of Terra with the Tail Whip as well. Just very, very strong play and good team play from Deserted, which is what you want to see for teams that look like they may not make the cut.
Right.
But this is encouraging for them to maybe want to stick together, stick it out in the Challenger Cup, and really try and make it work because the workings are there.
And I gotta give it, you know, good team play, sure, good individual play. Gorgonzolla has been crushing it right now. On the escape is trying to find the mid lane, but FaraKrik turns it around, takes care of Baas. Here's the big ultimate and a rebound, and the big SB is gonna capitalize off of that. Down goes Chang'e. Still looking for more. Hestrix is barely alive, but Joshy from the top looking for the kill out of the support. He's gonna be the one to spill. If everybody can catch up, that is one dead Apollo.
Rebound comes teleporting in behind everyone, trying to escape southbound, but Gorgonzolla, he's still here. The Shield of Regrowth giving Rebound an excellent burst of speed as long as a big burst of health. But there's the wall, the hammer over the wall, all the options covered. Stevie Beefy, he's waiting for you in the jungle. Rebound, he's going to fall as well. Unfortunate circumstance there for Joshy, who comes landing down directly into a fully charged Lurking in the Waters that does about half of his HP. Before he had gotten an auto attack off, Joshy was about 10% health.
Hestrix is here to watch Fire Giant be attacked by Deserted, but I think that's all he's going to be able to do, aggro, is watch. Fire Giant not falling down the quickest of objectives right now. It's just a Sobek and a Vulcan, but even still, Stevie Beefy is doing everything in his power to really control Hestrix over there, and it's actually going to send Hestrix back to base.
Yeah, Hoek, no real danger of dying this objective, so even though it takes them quite a bit to finish it off, Deserted isn't worried about it because all 5 members have that Fire Giant buff ready to go. Gorgonzolla, he's ready to go into the middle lane. Looking at FaraKrik, the Moonlit Waltz gonna get him out of that. CC ultimate for just a regular ability. Small win, but still a win there for Last Minute Monsters.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Gorgonzolla has been a huge part of what has been a fantastic game and a 9,500 gold lead and also a 10,000 experience lead.
Yeah.
This is really where my analyst always gets really excited about the experience lead. I'm going to let you do your thing.
Very, very excited about this experience lead because not only does it give you, I mean, we always talk about all the damage it brings to the mid lane specifically, that you're leveling up your abilities and doing more damage there, but it's also about the base health that you're gaining. I mean, you just become so tanky so quickly. And look at FaraKrik, only level 17 still. He's got both of his damage options maxed out by now in the 1 and the 3, but doesn't have that same mobility and escapability as if he were level 19 or 20. Plus, they're relying so much on his magical damage, and he just doesn't have it right now. No penetration quite yet at all. He's gone for the cooldown boots on top of the Chronos Pendant. He's maxed out on CDR thanks to Sands of Time, but he's just not doing any damage with it.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, his role in when you draft this Chang'e, you're not looking for the same application as you would have Poseidon. Stevie Beefy surrounded by 3, surrounded by 4, surrounded by worms. He's in the ground, and Rebound gets credit. That's going to be the second for the Chaac player.
I'm just very perplexed at why he would ever walk into a tier 2 tower with no one close to him on the map. Gorgonzolla had ult, but he was the only one in the right jungle.
So I am not perplexed because I watched Zashu play last year, and I watched Zashu play in Relegations. This is the for better or for worse, and I want to make sure that the painting that I'm painting, the picture I'm painting here is accurate in the sense that Zashu comes up positive in that situation 2 out of 3 times. He goes too deep into the enemy into enemy territory. He's got a big lead. He's able to bully the opponent off of the tower, and he can take that tower by himself. But Last Minute Monsters holds their ground this time around, and it's not successful for Stevie Beefy. So this time bites off a little bit more than he can chew.
Joshy taking a lot of damage, as is Hestrix. Earthbigger off the mark, but Gorgonzolla chasing down his jungle opponent. He'll catch him. Gorgonzolla able to pick up the kill on Susano on the front-hand side. Rebound, trying to zone away the damage, but he may pay for it, and he will. Hoek finds a second kill for Deserted.
Listen, I gotta say it again, man. It's a team game, sure. I'm looking directly at the Stinky Cheese, man. Gorgonzola has been out of control.
He's been great all game, 8, 4, and 13. BigSB understanding why he's taking tower shots here, waiting for his team. No real worries right now.
See, like that's exactly it. That's the play he's doing. He's zoning out the enemy. That's the same play that we saw last time, except this time his team was a little bit closer. Now, looking for the Phoenix Siege. All here in the mid lane. Dancing away is going to be FaraKrik. 1 shot, 2 shot. BroTuZ claims the life. Joshy in trouble here. Big ol' crit, big ol' hit. BroTuZ is going to take a hit of that, and he's going to exhale as he takes down the Titan.
Deicide going the way of Deserted. Hestrix is respawn, doesn't have his ultimate. I don't think it's gonna matter. Deserted, they're gonna be able to pick up their first victory of the relegation phase, ending the hopes of Last Minute Monsters. They will not be joining us in the spring SPL split.
BroTuZ and Gorgonzola, I would like to watch that so many times over. That's the type of stuff where, you know, they're not the best players in the world, but these players are very strong. Sure. And when they're able to catch their stride, you really get to see what happens. BroTuZ finally playing on the big stage in his original traditional mid lane role, really letting it flex.
I mean, here you go, Tom. You get to watch this over again, just like you wanted to. And he looked so good on this Vulcan. His positioning was phenomenal. And the ultimates were loose, and that's a great word. I think that's exactly what you want out of your mid laner, is a guy who has this big game-changing ultimate in Earthbreaker, but I'll just throw it out whenever I think it looks good. Sometimes you want to be more patient, but he was just, in the mid-game especially, against a rebound, just like we saw right there, just shredding through that frontliner. And there, I mean, we talked so much. Shield of Regrowth, unbelievable item, super, super strong, but you give up your magical protection, and then you've got a mid laner like BroTuZ who can just punch through you.
Yeah, you really got to read the scene and figure out what's going on and how things are affecting you early. As soon as that breastplate of valor was done and BroTuZ had already killed him once or twice, at that point you really have to sort of shift your game. Yeah, the shield of regrowth is fantastic.
Sure.
But at that moment, I think the magical protection might have been a little bit more important. Either way, as you said, we will bid our friends adieu. Last Minute Monsters are last minute's information. It's now all about who won?
Not the right stage. Deserted.
Deserted.
They won. Congratulations to them. They pick up the victory. The first one, like we said, not mathematically eliminated quite yet, but pretty close. They need some help in order to get there in a tiebreaker scenario.
Exactly. So we'll keep an eye on that. In fact, we'll take a look at the standings in just a little bit to really break down where these teams have landed, because this is now, like we said, we have a team knocked out officially, and that's going to bring Last Minute Monsters to 0. Deserted have 3 points. Cyclone GG up on top. They've looked absolutely fantastic, and they're actually who we're going to see play next. Cyclone GG will take on New Game Plus, and we'll see how that matchup winds up.
Very, very important game for New Game Plus, but also for Cyclone GG. I mean, they're in a great spot, but they aren't guaranteed quite yet. If they are able to find this victory, they're in. They're in the spring split. No more. They don't need to play their 5th game even, unless their opponent needs that sort of result to determine where they are. But New Game Plus, if they can find this victory, that puts them in a great spot to secure their spot in the spring split.
So how are you feeling about New Game Plus, in all honesty? Because Cyclone GG, as we said, this has been the team to really go after right now. But I got to be honest with you, and I have been looking at this player for a long time. No numbers. Yeah. Looks like no nonsense.
Yeah, he's been killing it, especially on Hercules, but he also got abused a little bit whenever he was playing up against the Odin. Got to be a little more wary, probably ward a little bit more, but very, very high ceiling for this player.
Cyclone GG takes on New Game Plus. We'll be right back in just a few.